In the quiet village of Omu-Aro, the night did not fall gently. It arrived like a warning. The sky turned a deep, unnatural red, thick clouds swirling like something unseen was watching from above. The air grew heavy, and even the elders, men who had seen many seasons, stood still, unsure of what they were witnessing. That was the night Zila was born. At first, nothing seemed unusual. A child's cry broke through the silence, sharp and alive, but moments later, her mother noticed something. Something no one could explain. On the baby's hand were 9 small marks, curved, silver, glowing faintly in the dark. They looked like moons. Word spread quickly. That same night, the entire village had gathered. Some fell to their knees, whispering prayers, calling her a blessing sent by the gods. Others stood at a distance, gripping their weapons tightly, fear written across their faces. To them, this was not a gift, it was a warning. And before anyone could agree on what the child truly was, the signs began. The great river that had fed the village for generations dried up overnight. The ancient Iroko tree at the center of the land withered as if its life had been stolen. And just like that, the whispers grew louder. Something has come with this child. Years passed, but the fear never left. Zila grew up in a house filled with silence, not the peaceful kind, but the kind that hides things. Her mother, Rina, never allowed her to wander, never allowed her to touch anyone, not even a flower. "Stay away," she would say, pulling her back with trembling hands. "Your touch is not like others," but she never explained why. And Zila, she was tired. Tired of the rules, tired of the looks people gave her, tired of feeling like she was something dangerous, without knowing what she had done. At night, when the village slept, she would stare at the marks on her skin. Sometimes they glowed, faint, silent, alive. And deep inside her, a question grew louder with each passing day. What am I? One afternoon, everything changed. The sun was low, casting long shadows across the village, when Zila heard a faint sound behind her home. She followed it carefully, her heart beating faster with each step, until she found her grandmother, Mama Gubonju, sitting on the ground. Her body was shaking, her hands pressed tightly against her chest. "Grandma," Zila whispered, rushing forward. The old woman looked up, her eyes filled with pain, but also fear. "Don't," she tried to say, but it was too late. Without thinking, Zila reached out and touched her. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a faint silver light flickered between them. It spread slowly, like something alive, moving from Zila's hand into the old woman's body. Mama Gibonju gasped. Her eyes widened. The pain vanished. Her breathing steadied. Her body relaxed. But instead of relief, her face filled with terror. She pushed Zila away so suddenly that the girl stumbled backward. "It has begun," she whispered, her voice shaking. Zila stared at her, confused. "What do you mean?" The old woman's gaze dropped to the glowing marks. "The moons," she said slowly. "They are feeding." A chill ran through Zila's body. "Feeding on what?" she asked. But deep down, she already feared the answer. "Life," Mama Gibanju said. Silence fell between them. "Go," the old woman said quickly. "Run, now." She turned and ran. She ran deep into the part of the forest she had always been warned never to enter. Then suddenly she stopped. In front of her was something she had never seen before. A cave hidden behind thick vines that seemed to shift slightly, as if they were alive. The air around it felt different, as though it was calling her. And before she could stop herself, Zila stepped inside. The moment Zila stepped inside, the world behind her disappeared. The sounds of the forest faded. No wind, no birds, nothing. Only silence. A heavy, unnatural silence that pressed against her ears. She took another step forward, her bare feet brushing softly against the cold stone floor. The air inside the cave felt different, thicker, almost alive. For a second, she thought about turning back, but something inside her pulled her deeper. The vines at the entrance shifted slightly behind her, as if sealing her in. Zila froze. Then slowly, she turned. The entrance was still there, but it didn't feel like a way out anymore. Her heartbeat quickened. She swallowed hard and faced forward again. That was when she saw it. The walls, they weren't empty. They were covered. Drawings, markings carved into the stone, stretching from the ground to the ceiling. Zila stepped closer, her eyes scanning the surface. Then her breath caught, because one of the drawings looked familiar. Too familiar. It was a girl, standing just like her, and on her arm, 9 crescent marks. Zila's hand slowly lifted, almost on its own, as she looked down at her arm, then back at the wall. "No," she whispered. Her voice echoed softly, swallowed by the cave. She moved further along the wall, her steps slower now. The drawings changed. The girl in them changed. In one, she was surrounded by light. In another, the ground beneath her cracked open. In another, people were running, falling, disappearing. Zila's chest tightened. Her breathing became uneven. "What is this?" she murmured. Then a sound, soft but clear. A voice. "You finally found your way back." Zila froze. Every part of her body went still. The voice didn't come from behind her. It came from deeper within the cave. Slowly, she turned her head toward the darkness. At first, she saw nothing, just shadows. But then, a shape. Tall, still, watching. Zila took a step back. "Who's there?" she asked, her voice barely steady. The figure didn't move immediately, but the air around it seemed to shift, as if it carried something beyond human. "You've grown," the voice said again, calm, almost gentle. "But the moons remember." Zila's hand tightened into a fist. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said quickly, but even she didn't believe it. The figure stepped forward slightly, just enough for faint light to touch its form. Its skin shimmered like the night sky itself, covered in patterns that glowed softly like distant stars. Zila's breath caught. "What are you?" she whispered. The figure paused, then, slowly, it smiled. "I am not the question you should be asking," it said. "The question you should ask is what you are becoming."